that had to be involved before I could get the material to work. I wanted to find some aspects of persuasion that were more general and all-purpose in use. Then I found it. I found a free ebook on the internet called the 1 Sentence Persuasion Course, written by a man named Blair Warren. In this ebook, he outlines 5 general principles involved in persuasion that are pretty much involved in almost any significant attempt in persuasion. It's going to be my job tonight to try and convince you that there are general principles involved in persuasion. First, I'm going to tell you what that one magic sentence is. I'm then going to go into more detail as to what these 5 general principles are all about. So here it is, the one sentence that'll tell you some of the most important things you'll ever need to know about persuasion. That sentence is, people will do anything for anyone who can encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. The reason why these principles are so effective is that they help fulfill fundamental human needs. First, let's consider on encouraging their dreams. People need to feel that their goals and dreams matter, and that there'll be somebody out there who can support them. Parents often actively discourage their children's dreams and try to steer them towards more reasonable goals. So let's say a child wants to be a doctor. His parents might tell him, oh, you're not smart enough to be a doctor. There's no way you can be a doctor. You should be a plumber instead. So the kid goes through life believing that he doesn't have what it takes to be a doctor, until one day his teacher comes along and says, I know that you have what it takes to be a doctor. After this happens, who do you think is going to have more influence on the kid? His parents or the teacher? Now on justifying their failures. We've all heard the advice that we need to take responsibility for our lives. But the unfortunate reality is that there are millions of people out there that don't want to take responsibility for their lives. They want someone to take the blame off of their shoulders and tell them that they are not responsible for their lot in life. So take, for instance, a person who's trying to lose weight. This person has tried many different methods, but they can't seem to lose the weight. Then a person comes along and says, oh, it's not your fault that you can't lose the weight, it's because of your genetics. After this happens, the person is very likely going to be influenced by a statement. And keep in mind that these principles don't always have to involve falsehood and deceit. They can be based on things that are actually true, like a genetic basis of obesity. Now on allaying their fears. When people are afraid, they find it nearly impossible to concentrate on anything else. The typical advice a fearful person gets is, don't be afraid. This, of course, does not work. A person who is fearful needs some real support in order to diminish their fear in the forms of specific examples, illustrations, and stories. So take a person who is fearful of public speaking. Rather than tell them, oh, don't be afraid of public speaking, the more effective persuader will give some specific examples of how they could alleviate their fear of public speaking, such as teaching them how to make eye contact with the audience, how to organize their speeches, how to use logic in their speeches, and how to pour emotion into their speeches. Now on confirming their suspicions. One of our favorite things to say is, I knew it. There's nothing quite like having our suspicions confirmed. Whenever somebody helps confirm our suspicions, not only do we feel a surge of superiority, but we feel attracted to the person who helped bring that feeling out in us. So take, for instance, the monstrous madman Jim Jones. He helped confirm the suspicions of his followers that life was not worth living. After he did this, he was easily able to convince his followers to go kill themselves. Lastly, we have on helping them throw rocks at their enemies. What is perhaps the easiest, quickest, most effective way in which people bond is when they have a common enemy. It sounds very ugly, but it's true. History will show you over and over again that there's nothing quite like a common enemy to rage up against. Just look at every single war and lots of issues with politics. It has been said that each and every person is engaged in a great struggle. It doesn't matter who you are, you have some kind of struggle or enemy you're up against. These enemies can take on many forms, including individuals, groups, organizations, setbacks, illnesses, or ideologies. Whenever someone's having a struggle, they want to recruit people to help them with their cause. I have just summarized 5 elements of persuasion, and I summarized them in just one sentence. That sentence was, people will do anything for anyone who can encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. I hope this speech has made you a little bit more informed of how you are persuaded each and every day. Fellow Toastmasters,